got the work done that I feel. I'm praying to the Creator, first of all, thanking Him for this good winter day, the water we drank, and the food that we eat, and asking to stand up our whole tribe well, and stand up our leaders and chief, and bring a blessing to the Delaware tribe Indians. Amen.
Thanks, Chad. Roll call.
Chief Macione.
Here.
Assistant Chief Brooks.
Here.
Verna Crawford here. Annette Ketchum, absent. Jennifer Brown.
Here.
Nate Young, absent. Jennifer Macione.
Here.
And I believe Nate is not here due to weather, that he's got iced in Tahlequah.
We may have an appointment for tomorrow. She couldn't get there, but she's not here. So she's back early. Oh. I think Nate's probably... Whatever. What do you think?
I do know that it did ice up Tahlequah. That's, I guess, if it was council as a whole, rather was absence to be excused or unexcused.
And Annette, what it was, she had a doctor's appointment someplace?
Personal business. Yeah, personal business.
It's to sell their house at the lake, isn't it? That's unexcused, isn't it?
Chet, are you making a motion about it, excused and unexcused absence?
I'm the one that brought it up.
Okay, well, what's
I made a motion that we excuse Nate because of the weather, but we don't excuse Annette because it's personal.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
I don't know if that's being fair or not.
I guess we have these both on the same motion. Is that okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I abstain. We usually don't give unexcused or excused absence until the next meeting.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I thought we did now.
Just depends on their
What's going on?
Right.
Either way, but if there is a part of the Constitution that says we have to keep track of it.
Okay.
So that motion passed, Josh?
Or we table it, what do you do?
Please, I mean, if
No, it's
we had 4 yes and 1 abstain.
We need to be able to go through this number 6. Child enforcement. This one. Those are two different things.
Okay, so we're going to call now. Have you greeted everybody? And then we can amend the agenda.
I see we do have some guests. Maybe we'll adjust the agenda for one of these resolutions because of the people that stayed from work. So,
I'll move
welcome guests.
to approve the agenda with the the change of moving the resolution 2014-06 to be the next vote at the top of the agenda. Is that the only one? Yeah.
Okay. Second. Approve the agenda with adjustment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Passed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We did.
Yeah.
Amendment on the first.
January.
Go ahead and.
Do you want to just go ahead and
Yeah.
do that? Okay. So we're going to do this resolution first. And it's the Child Support Service Code.
Will, is it ready?
I need you to.
Find your resolution.
We're just standing by, Chief, in case you have any questions.
Okay.
I have no questions.
I'd like to make a comment on the child enforcement code. I just, as you know, attended the meeting last week, and they went all the way through the child code, and it, to me personally, it, not knowing much about the subject, but to me personally, it looks like it's well in order, and I would recommend this council to approve it.
Can,
I
are you
assume-
making that motion?
I can make it.
What is the resolution?
I would
Oh,
certainly like to add something, though.
On the back of this.
it's on here. Oh, okay.
You do agree that it is what we need to do.
Yeah.
I hope so, since you presented.
Well, and this is one of the major deliverables on the grant.
Right.
And so,
So did anybody second your motion?
Second.
Oh, okay.
I sat in on that meeting by telephone, and I've read through them. There were a couple of questions I had, but they were answered and clarified. And I think that, we can always amend them in the future if necessary, but I think this is a very good foundation to go from. I'd call for the question.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passed.
we will now convert these into a cover sheet for the tribe and make sure that they are posted and made available for the public. These are the public laws of the Delaware tribe. And I guess I might ask if Gina would indicate what additional training may go on for our judges, since when we go operational, that's the law that they'll be operating on.
Yes, we are going to have a judges training through Marcia, but do a workshop with the judges, and we're also working on our policies and procedures, and we'll probably have a workshop on that as well for council members and probably judges as well. So, yeah, we're definitely, Marcia is very willing to come out and do training anytime. And so if we feel like we need more than one, she said she'd be happy to do that.
And of course, the code, there will be a copy of the code in the judge's chamber.
Yes, always. Ooh.
Anybody else?
Susan?
I have questions. This is the first I've read of this particular program, and I do notice that it is a grant.
Yes.
Knowing grants can be granted from year to year, you may get it, you may not. What are the procedures in place if we are going to implement this and you do not receive a grant to continue, what is going to take place?
We can ask for an extension if we need it. I mean, if there's something wrong. As far as our consultants have looked at, we're going to present our comprehensive plan in July, making us go comprehensive in October. And our Fed reps would let us know fairly quickly prior to the grant award date if we had everything in order. But
Okay, now what are your plans for setup? Where is this going to be?
it's right back here.
Oh, well.
You need to come and take a tour. Yeah, we have a new office back here, so I'd invite all of y'all to come back. And, we're going to base it out of Caney, and we'll be working the 7 counties that we have, in northeastern Oklahoma, and then the counties, 35 or 36? 35? 36 in Kansas. So, yes, we have a brand-new office back here. I'd love for you guys to come back and take a look.
So this is strictly on grant? There's no money coming from the trust to be set aside on a line item?
It's all federal dollars.
The trust doesn't fund this.
Okay.
It's all federal, and it's a mandated grant, so once we go comprehensive, the first year we have to do a matching or in kind at 10%.
And where's that money coming from?
The 10%, we can either do in kind, or it'll come from the tribe itself, or we can even charge interest if we want and earn that ourselves.
So this may cost the tribe then?
No.
It would be interest or in kind. It would include the judge's time would be in kind if they have to hold a court session. The office space, the computers, everything would be considered the in kind, and that will more than match the 10%.
Yeah. There won't be any dollars from the tribe. It's really basically a federal program. The state of Kansas and the state of Oklahoma have child support enforcement programs, and these grants are mandated for tribes. And I think there's 9 tribes in Oklahoma that do it, and there's 52 tribes nationally.
I have heard of the program, but I just did not know how or what the plans were for this.
Well, we'd love for you to come visit us anytime.
I will.
And we can show you the grant and let you take a look around.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good job.
Good job, Chris. I guess you could introduce your staff.
Sorry. We don't need to. I'm
Gina.
Gina Roth, and I'm the director. Roth.
Roth.
R-O-T-H. And this is Rachel Overmeyer. She's our coordinator. And this is Kenzie Gomez, and she's our administrative assistant. And the grant, it allows for each of these positions, and then as we grow, hopefully, we'll add some more.
All 3 of the positions were advertised.
Advertised and
for a lengthy amount of time, and
Who wrote the grant?
It was written by Jennifer. Yeah. That's a great
Jennifer.
it was at $500,000 for 2 years.
For 2 years.
Wow.
It's a great grant.
I'm very proud of you, girls.
Did you get compensated for writing that grant, Jennifer?
I did.
Amount? Amount?
You did?
Yeah.
By the tribe?
You did.
Did you get paid?
You got compensated by the tribe?
It was an open contract, and everybody saw it.
What was the amount?
You're just going to use that against me, Susan, and that's not necessary.
It's just a question, Jennifer, when it concerns the tribe.
The tribe didn't pay for it. It came out of the grant.
The grant is being used by the tribe,
Okay.
being honored by the tribe.
Okay.
It's a valid question.
It's probably the normal thing that anybody that writes a grant gets paid.
And what is the percentage of that grant?
It wasn't based on a percentage. It was based on the hours it took to write it, and as recommended by the federal directors that help us with the grant.
Well, the reason I bring this up, to me, it's kind of like a conflict of interest, you being on the tribal council and getting compensated for writing the grant and being paid by the tribal council. It's kind of like...
Well, the tribal council felt like it was above and beyond what anyone else was doing in their normal duties as the tribal council member, and the alternative was to not have the grant. So the tribal council made the decision that it wasn't fair for me not to be compensated to write it.
So the tribal council approved you being paid for writing that grant?
That's
Was
right.
that brought to the council for a vote?
That's right. They split since then, I guess.
I have.
I think we discussed that, but we never heard the final
Yeah.
outcome.
Yes, I did. I
Uh,
remember discussing.
As far as grants are concerned, I think we are missing the boat on a lot of money that's available out there in grants. And I
Oh,
think
we
that
are.
we need to probably have a permanent grant writer, but I think anyone that wants to write a grant for us and help us out, I think is,
I thought
Yeah,
we
we've
had
never turned
a
anyone
grant
down
writer.
that brought
No,
a
we
grant to
don't.
the tribe.
We
don't.
don't have a grant
don't
writer.
have an official grant writer, and I think that's
Do
where
we
maybe
have-
we
I
can
also
vote.
didn't get paid until the grant was already received, and I didn't get paid for writing the grant, I got paid for receiving the grant, or writing a successful grant.
Well, the question did remain, though, on the compensation for writing the grant when you are a member of the tribal council. Maybe we should look into having I thought we had an official grants writer for the tribe.
We did a few years ago, but he didn't write one. But we did have one.
Who was that?
Was it, you know I'm no good at names. Right.
He was the EPA director at the time, right?
Lucy's.
Ballard.
That was it, Ballard.
It is our intention that we're working toward being able to have a grant writer and grant writing department. We've got to kind of crawl before we can run, and we're trying to get the funding to do that. And
Right.
Anybody that
I
wants to
understand.
write a grant for free is welcome to do that.
Yeah,
Well, that wasn't the point of the question, was being compensated for writing the grant when you are on the tribal council, which is an elected position, which is a paid position, and a paid position for writing the grant.
My
Poorly paid
computer's not
position.
going to, my computer's not going to work, so I need somebody to take good minutes. It just crashed again.
Well, I see you're not going to answer, and I am
don't see the conflict.
noting that
If
the
you know, if
tribal
I answered or
council...
if I didn't answer, you would rake me over the coals on Facebook, Susan. So I'm not going to give you more
Jennifer,
fodder.
Thank you,
It's
Susan.
not a
We're going to
personal
go on.
item. It's a
We
matter
have
of...
to continue with this meeting now. We're going to go to the minutes now.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as presented with changes if there are any.
Okay.
Sorry, what?
Have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes.
second,
Any corrections?
What are you voting on, the minutes?
yes.
Okay, well, it states in there that I suggested the copy of the minutes be signed by the secretary, and actually, I believe I said in the chief, after they were approved.
This is my personal computer that I use to take the minutes every day, or every minute. Susan, this is my personal computer that I bring to the council meeting and use to take minutes every meeting, but I don't receive compensation for that. Just wanted to let you know, all the
Thank
things
you,
that I do
Jennifer.
for
I
free.
appreciate you making that clear. Thank you so much.
So we can add that in about the secretary and the
Chief.
chief.
We didn't want those signed until they were approved.
Right, and then you sign them as soon as they're approved.
Right.
They were thinking we should sign it here and see wait for them to be retyped.
Yeah, I signed for this one.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to sign this one?
I think what the chief said is that once the minutes have been corrected, then we will both sign them, and we will be putting the tribal secretary's seal on resolutions and minutes. We're just trying to get everything streamlined and work it out too, so it'll be best for the tribe.
Okay.
Call for the question.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? Objections? Abstentions? All in favor? Okay. Okay, let's go to the report. The treasurer's report.
I move to accept the treasurer's report as given pending audit.
Which finance? Oh, I thought we were going to.
There's,
I'm sorry.
there are 4 tabs with financials.
Yes. I didn't hear the financials. I thought we were doing reports. It's okay.
Treasurer's report is at the top.
I'm good.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
So we file for audit.
Paula, could I ask if those are going to be put online? Or I guess I just did. Ask.
I don't know, do we usually put them online?
No, I asked last time and you and didn't get a clear answer.
Right.
I thought we discussed that and the accounting department was fine with that.
Yeah, they said they were.
Yeah, it's public record.
Right, it is.
Did
public
you,
record.
can we
Was
not
that-
get,
This part right here is fading over into this part. Can we not get the seal on the front or make it almost not make sense? Mine is, see, mine is blocked up really bad.
What I might recommend is that we make the seal smaller.
Or lighter,
Lighter, yeah.
thinner, paler, I don't know.
Like a watermark or something?
It's
Yeah.
like green.
Yeah, mine's more like a watermark.
Yeah.
Would you like the trust board financial, the spreadsheet idea?
Was it okay, did you have the seal on the other side?
I don't know, I was
Oh,
talking
okay.
about the report itself.
Oh, okay.
With all the different money pools and
We're
Yeah,
saying,
I would just like whatever
would
you all
this be good?
sign off on is put on there, regardless whether it's the way they do it or the way y'all do it. It doesn't matter to me.
well, it's both, I mean, because this is very similar to
Right.
that one.
It's just whatever y'all vote on and approve, that's what I think should hit the website.
Did we vote yet?
And then we'll just
So there's no misunderstanding if,
do a one-page thing too.
Right, and what we put in our, packet this month is the financial summary. It's not the whole financial report with all the line items, but this gives us the overall knowledge of what it is. And if there's a question on needing to go for more detail, that is in the accounting office. And yeah, we can put these online.
okay, thank you.
Okay, department report. I guess they're back here somewhere.
So someone needs to write that down and remind us to do that.
Right. Sandy, take a note.
I will make it in tall letters.
Well, and Greg's here too, remember?
Oh. Is he lazy?
Did you find it?
Yeah.
What is tribal business program? Is that DDA? Okay, I see that. All right. Tell me where we are.
I move to approve the department reports as presented not including the tribal manager's report.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor and a second to approve the monthly department reports.
Okay.
What departments reported?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
It's child support enforcement, communications, cultural resources, enrollment, environmental program, health, historic preservation office, information technology, social services, and then the tribal manager's report that we will address next.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Pass?
Before Curtis gets up here, I don't like our new forms. I'm sorry.
I think they're hard to read.
I think they're hard to read.
I
and
think
they
they're hard to
waste
read.
paper. And they could have written this out in a little paragraph. Instead, I have to read down like this, 2 pages,
You know what happened?
a line, words at a time.
I know, I'm not real grateful.
So,
I think they're great.
I do too. I like them because they're standardized if you're looking for a particular... Well, they can be standardized, but they don't take up so much space, wasted space. Can't they? No?
I mean, if you can reformat it to where it stays safe and still has the same
Stuff?
I will work on
ability to
that.
find stuff.
Because see, look, I've got 2 columns here that are totally blank because it's all in the same date, so I've just wasted half that paper.
Well, that's probably their
Killed a tree.
Killed a tree right there.
Well, I can reformat it, take out some of the line spaces, and
Well, maybe you could do it in paragraphs instead of columns.
But we can't read it in here. I mean, it can't.
Is that your
it's not
department
illegible
reports? That's not what we're looking
in
at.
paragraphs.
Are y'all looking at department reports or?
yes,
Can we wait, can we talk about it at another time?
Yes.
Work on it together? Okay. So we can,
But we don't have what you're talking about.
probably not.
No.
I get that for every department, and they have to fill out these things whether they need them or not, and it's just all wasted space.
Okay, but there's generally no more than 10 people at a council meeting. Couldn't all the paperwork that crosses you be put in packets for your constituents?
We have agreed to put them online after they have been black papered or something. If someone's name's accidentally on here, we don't want it on
Redacted.
Huh?
Redacted.
There you go. I knew there was a word.
But then before you vote on it, we have no way to question what you're voting on.
Well, but we're the ones that vote on it, so you don't have to know what it says.
Oh. We're the one that elected you.
I know. I'm just telling you, I'm here for some reason. Besides being, but whatever, people can write me bad notes all they want. Put it on Facebook, but I
Is
said,
that on the, is that?
yeah,
We're rolling, I want that on the camera.
it'll be on there.
It'll be there.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but
Okay, we're ready for the tribal manager's report.
Thank you, members of council. The first thing I want to report on is our housing. After our collaboration with our consultant, Simon Key, our Indian housing plan was submitted to HUD on January the 15th. Now, we're still awaiting the Cherokee Nation's approval of the proposed implementation agreement that would transfer authority over our Nahasda funds, our housing funds, back over to the tribe. And tonight, you also have on your agenda a resolution to approve 3 additional housing program policies. They are travel, relocation, and substance abuse prevention. Now, they're updated versions of previous policies that the Housing Authority had, but they now reflect that they are housing program policies. Next week, on February 10th and 11th will be visited by the Cherokee Nation's audit team, and they will be auditing our housing funds for the period of October 1 of 2012 through September 30 of 2013. And during this period, of course, we had three really big activities, major activities, that used either the NAHASDA funds or our 1937 Act reserve funds. These activities were the establishment of Delaware Facilities Management Solutions, DFMS, the purchase of the Irene Apartments in Bartlesville, and the rehab or modernization of our tribal properties, including the apartments, the community center, the apartments and the community center. And, these are big activities, so I'm sure they'll be looked at by the auditors, and we welcome their audit and their team next week. Been working hard preparing financial statements, reports, and getting ready for their visit next week. Secondly, regarding our 638 contract proposal, our proposal to BIA to contract our aid to tribal government funds is still awaiting approval by the Eastern Oklahoma Regional Director, Robert Impson. Now, I got an email today from Diane Buck, their Tribal Government Services Officer, and she said that they are waiting the transfer of those funds from BIA in Washington back down to Muskogee. This is the funds that had been in the Cherokee budget. Cherokee did not spend it. We haven't drawn any of the money down. We let that money go back to Washington to be pulled out of the Cherokee budget and sent down to Muskogee to be prepared in a direct contract with us. And that will be the first big step in overcoming the restrictions that we had in the memorandum of agreement. And then these housing funds following right on the heels. Those would be two major accomplishments in trying to get out from underneath this Cherokee memorandum of agreement. So I wish it was already happened. We're this close to making it happen, but I'll just say that the wheels of government turn terribly slow. But I haven't given up hope, and I believe that it is going to happen very soon. On January the 8th, Chief Pachoni, Treasurer Jan Brown, and I, we traveled to Muskogee, and we attended the Eastern Oklahoma Regional Budget meeting. At that meeting, like the other tribes, we submitted our priority list, including aid to tribal government. Under the justice line item, the funding for tribal courts, we really want to get some BIA money to help build and support our tribal court system. Social services programs, higher education scholarships, economic development, and we also indicated that funding for the real estate office, which processes the fee to trust applications, is something that we want to suggest as remaining a priority. While we were at that meeting, our tribe was selected to be one of the featured tribes in a video being produced for the National BIA budget meeting. So sure enough, on January 29th, the video crew that is hired by the BIA to create this video came to Bartlesville, shot some video around our campus, interviewed Chief Pachoni so that we could tell the story of the Delaware tribe and why 638 funding is critical to our tribe and our future expansion. With regards to our fee to trust application, I have been reporting in the past several meetings that we've had to submit and resubmit and resubmit a constantly revised legal description on this property right here. It really had to do with the accepted language in the regulations that's dictated by the Bureau of Land Management Survey Division. So we finally got all of that language corrected. And Bureau of Land Management they were dictating that in email, so I was basically putting Bureau of Land Management with our surveyor to make sure that the language was correct. I'm awaiting BIA to say we're ready to accept this legal description, and then I can submit an amended trust application. Now, I did ask Chief Avanette how many feed of trust applications is the Muskogee office currently handling right now? She looked at her list, she said, I have 42. I said, well, we get a report that just shows us on there. She said, yeah, we send a report, and so we send the Delawares their report, we show that their name is on the list, but the other tribes, we send them their name, we don't see all of the tribes.
They tell everyone there's only one?
They
That's
tell,
where it's
they
We
tell
only have
each
one.
tribe that they have their application on their list. They don't, apparently, I don't know why, but they don't send us the list of all of the tribes that have a pending application. But she did say she has 42, so we do have other tribes that we're standing in line with, waiting on approval of our trust application. Exciting news that's in your report that Bryce Overmeyer brought up out of the Historic Preservation Office. And we're coordinating to establish basically what I'm calling a branch office of the Historic Preservation Office. And we would be targeting the campus of Temple University in Philadelphia. And that office would provide the archaeologists and the clerical staff to be conducting reviews of property along these railroad tracks throughout our former historic lands. The project is expected to generate some considerable revenue over the next 2 to 3 years. And as you know, we've had several conference calls on this matter. We have another one scheduled for tomorrow afternoon, and we should be able to bring a final proposal to the Tribal Council for your consideration and approval. I'm thinking perhaps within the next 2 weeks. So we're having conference calls at least a couple times a week now to get this project off and running. Finally, I know you have on the agenda tonight an executive session, and I do have several issues regarding job assignments, pay levels, and performance reviews that I need to discuss with you all. And I look forward to the opportunity to bring those issues forward. However, we may require a full-blown personnel committee meeting to make any decisions. If you don't make any decisions tonight, we may want to schedule a personnel committee meeting separate from the Tribal Council meeting and address all of these issues here. But overall, that's a summary of everything that's going on. Well, not everything. You've got the individual department reports, and then I think you've heard also, from others about what's going on around our campus. I will report 2 things that Bruce Martin is, as of this morning, was still in the hospital. We're awaiting his release. I really don't expect him back for a week. Same thing with Mickey Morrison. He's been released from the hospital, and he's obtaining therapy, but he indicated to me probably not to look for him for a couple weeks. Now, I do have a temporary position being filled right now as a tribal member, just so we can keep the wellness center going on. And I'm sure anxious for both those guys to come back to work in full health and ready to get back to work. So that's my report.
Okay,
I welcome any questions or comments from the council. All right. Thank you.
Move to accept the tribal manager's report as presented.
You have a question?
Had a question.
Oh,
My question was about the departmental reports. I understand that if there's anything personnel-wise in those, that's why you keep those reports separate. But could that section be presented to the council in a separate paragraph or something that's not presented to us? I think it would be a very positive thing if we knew what was happening in the departments rather than having something secret.
Jan votes on it, you don't need to know.
well, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, it's true, there's things that might be in there of personnel
I
nature.
agree, you need to
That
know
needs to be
what's
kept
going on
separate.
in these departments, but you can't wait till tomorrow. You want them tonight.
Why not?
Well,
Well, I mean,
because we don't have them until tonight, so I don't know what to tell you.
even tomorrow, I mean, I think it'd just be positive if we knew what was happening, the good things that are happening in the departments. We don't hear about those things. And it'd be great.
Well, I
I
think
understand
it's
there's
good.
personnel issues that you don't want to be public, and that's why you have executive sessions. But the rest of the
I've
things,
never
what they're
really
doing,
seen anything in here that anybody couldn't read, but someone thought it was a concern.
Well, and we had talked at a previous council meeting about having the departmental reports redacted by the department director,
Right.
and that they were going to forward those on to Greg to post on the website.
And I don't know if
We
it
had made that decision. So
yeah. I mean, anything personnel could be
Then we need
presented
to
as a
follow
separate
up and make
document.
sure they're being
I
done.
know that
Yeah.
Curtis has an all-staff meeting tomorrow, and he can bring it up with his staff and remind them to take care of that.
But it'd be good, just to get out what the departments are doing and make sure, it's, showing that they're doing things.
When
Your
we
positive
see
thing.
one of the department heads,
Yeah, no,
You can brag on 'em.
I'm really proud of them. They do have a lot of stuff
Yeah.
in here they're doing.
And we need to get that information out to the people.
So Greg, they haven't, none
They
of the
haven't.
department heads have tried to put that
Okay.
online?
But Curtis is going to mention it in the
But
staff meeting.
I'd like to add, we do put out reports in the Delaware Indian News on a quarterly basis.
But that's quarterly.
Right, and they don't read the DIN.
Yeah, we read them, but it's quarterly.
It's on the website, except we haven't gotten it for the last one, I don't think, last month. We put the reports like for October, November, and December. But we just haven't gotten them.
I haven't seen anything, but let them go over it again to make sure. Or they can rewrite, if you guys want to print everybody a copy next month, then go right ahead. I'm not gonna say you can't,
Well, it's supposed to be online.
but not before we approve them or accept them.
We just thought that maybe if they didn't want what they presented to us, then they could do a different form or
But if we were sitting here and knew what you all were just talking about, which we don't, so if we got the same ones you're presented, at least we would have information about what you're discussing. We sit here and don't have a clue what y'all are talking about.
You say, we're going to vote on such and such, and means nothing to us.
All we did was vote that we got them.
You got to read.
We don't know what you got.
We always copy
Okay.
everything and hand it out.
So now we're going to print
Okay.
a bunch and hand them out.
No, they're fine with it being on the
Okay.
website,
No, they want them,
I think.
no, we do. Okay.
Okay, so
Okay,
let's go on
whatever.
to new business and the resolution.
Okay.
Oh, this is for a grant. This is a library grant from the National Park Service. And it is on your, it's the first one, A, on your report there.
1405.
I'll move to approve Resolution 2014-05. It's a resolution of the Tribal Council of the Delaware Tribe of Indians regarding submission of the grant proposal entitled Images of Our Grandfathers Project to the National Park Service.
I make a motion we accept the resolution. Is that what we do?
I move to approve it.
Needs a
Is that your
Second.
first one? I will second that.
Give her
Okay,
the-
there's a motion, second on the floor to pass the,
Is there any discussion? Is there any questions?
Who wrote the grant?
Nita.
Neither Mathis, the director of the cultural.
Okay, I do have a question for the audience where we handed out the expanded minutes and resolution information. Is that satisfactory? Or, we had talked about wanting to see the resolutions. Is there enough explanation on this to let you know what is being done?
A lot better than what we had before.
Yeah, it's much better than what we've ever had.
Okay. We had discussed either being able to give more detail in writing or put it on the screen every month. We thought we'd try this, and if this is good, then that's the way we'll leave it.
We don't want 10 pages.
Right.
I said we don't want 10 pages to go
But
through.
we just do want to be able to
summary.
look at it and ask a question
Okay.
if we don't see enough on there.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passed. All in favor?
Aye.
Never did that.
Jennifer, are you going to read our next one?
No, I don't feel it's very good
Okay.
time.
All right, that's fine.
You're asking about the new members?
Yes, we have 20 new members that are asking to be approved.
With the chief's consent, I'll speak loudly if I can.
I'm going to read their names.
Do we have a motion on the floor first?
I'll motion it to approve. our new
I'll second.
members.
Okay.
Okay, there's 20 new members. They are Danielle Sabree Moline, Amia Sabrina Moline, Adasia Shaylin Moline, Darcy Ray Davis, Paxton Don Davis, Melissa Ann Colbert, Michael Allen Colbert, Kate Nicole Coupland, Randy Lamar Wheeler Jr., Sheila Ann Rawson, Tristan Scott Spand, Leticia Marie Rodriguez, Osmer David Cruz, Juan Alejandro Cruz. I can't believe I don't know how to say the middle name of my third cousin.
You never knew his middle name.
Well, I can see why. That's a hard name.
Alejandro?
Alejandro.
Alejandro.
Hudson
Yeah, the J
Thomas.
has an H sound in the Spanish.
Yeah. Hudson Thomas Cameron, Trevor James Heady, Tanner James Heady, Caleb Paul Lowry, Paul Anthony Lowry, and Colby Jordan Lowry.
You did very good, actually.
Okay.
Okay, there they are. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention?
Here comes the CD for the yes.
Oh, that's right, that one has head and I think it, oh, okay. Okay. Now we're doing 2014-07. No, that's the one we just did.
Yeah, 8.
We're on 2014-08. This is concerning the CD that we use to, for collateral for the operation of our DFMS. We're just rolling it over, we're not doing anything to it, just letting it continue.
But I do have some questions about the DFMS. I'm sure
Can
y'all
we
are...
take care of the business, and then after the resolution's done, then we can take questions from the floor? Her question doesn't have anything to do with the resolution.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Did you, was that your a motion to
Yes,
approve?
that's my motion to
I'm
approve.
second it.
Okay, any discussion there?
On their financial statements, this, here in this resolution, you call it a CD. They refer to an LOC, which is the line of credit. Are we
Right,
talking about the same?
The certificate deposit collateralizes the line of credit,
Okay.
How much is it?
so 300,000.
And that CD is being held where?
bank first.
Can you tell us how much is still on that line of credit, or how much has been used to that line of credit? In other words, what's been applied against or is held against the CD?
I believe it's zeroed out every month, just about, isn't it?
It is a revolving line of credit.
But,
They,
I mean, it started out with so much money based on that CD. Has that been reduced down? So the DFMS is losing money, is that?
No, the DFMS started out significantly in the hole when the current people took over. But currently they are not borrowing off of the line of credit unless they buy a piece of equipment. But I'd love to sit down with you and show you the trend. And
Yeah, I'm just really questioning what the return is on the DFMS, if it's making money or...
Prior to November of 2012, of that $300,000, the people that were in charge before had borrowed $200,000 on that line of credit. Since November 12, they've only used $86,000.
So it's from 200,000 down to 86?
No. They're still working on getting to that.
All right.
Do you have the structure of DFMS, who's in charge? How many employees do they have?
Okay, we are going to go ahead and finish this.
Yeah.
Then open up questions.
Okay, good.
Open question?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I'm going to abstain. And I'll make this comment about abstaining. If we don't roll over that CD, DFMS would be out of business.
That was part of the doing business at the bank. That was part of the agreement that we put up.
Wasn't that when they were going to do the Louisiana maintenance deal?
None of it was dependent on that. It was just to back the business. We needed to back them up, to support them, but yet we're not cashing the CD.
But unfortunately, at that time, DEA had staff, which DEA doesn't have staff any longer since February of 12. And a significant portion of that $200,000 actually was spent by the DEA staff.
But Chet, back to your abstention. Can you clarify what you're talking about on your...
Well, yeah. I abstain because I don't want to put something that I don't know about out of business. But on the other hand, there's the double-edged sword is how long are we going to go with DFMS losing money? For instance, they lost $9,000 last month.
Exactly, but we were just told that they aren't losing money.
Well, they are working for the tribe, and the tribe pays them they're not making any money off the tribe.
Oh, what about the service fee, admin fee they get every job?
They're making nothing off of the tribe. They're charging exactly what it costs them. And we do not want that to be that way anymore. We're going to let them bid it just like anybody else. So we'll get bids from other places, and then we'll decide which ones we want.
For example, on the child support remodel, the bids came in around $36,000, $30,000, and then DFMS did the job for $9,000. So they've, in efforts to try to please everyone, they've undercut themselves.
But that's not smart business.
Well, that's the position that we've put them in, and we realized what that's done to them. Also, originally we had required them to bill monthly instead of billing weekly or biweekly. And that was part of the use of their line of credit. Instead of getting paid for jobs as they did them, they were having to wait, and they were having to carry that note, essentially. Also, another part of the problems that we put them in is with the remodel of the lodges apartment, they weren't able to bill as each portion of a job was completed. So if they were contracted to remodel 4 apartments, even if that 4-apartment remodel took them 9 months, they weren't able to get paid for the first output of money until they were done completely with the job. So we were able to really sit down and look at our practices in dealing with them. In addition, they've been able, and then also because we put them in this position of, here's your max, or here's your 2/3 used up line of credit. Don't use any more of it, or we're going to say you guys are not performing up to snuff. And go get other contracts without any money to put out. So it's a learning process, I guess, and we've learned a lot. I asked DFMS to make us some graphs of the income versus the expenses by month, so that you can see a clearer picture of what they've actually been able to do, since they weren't paying for the DEA staff on top of it.
I have a question. Why do we need them? I mean, we haven't always had this group, and I don't know how many employees it has, but what do they do for us? I mean, other than us supporting them, what do they do? What are they available to do?
Well, they are a facilities management business, so they do everything from cleaning the floors to painting to building, or they're capable of doing those things. They're capable of doing those things for you. If you wanted them to come mow your lawn, they could do that.
Or replace windows, doors. That we've had them do that.
Had them do what?
We've had them replace windows.
Oh.
I mean, we've always hired someone to mow. We just
Okay.
hired them to mow instead of this other person.
But
But
why
then
do
we
we
pay
have-
25% admin fee on top of that.
Above their expense.
That's because
And
they're
that's still
working for
cheaper.
no profit.
It's still
and so
cheaper than
it's
anybody
just
else.
Admin fees.
In addition, because we don't have the tribe doesn't have the employee cost, what they've done essentially is they replaced the benefits that were paid. Housing had multiple maintenance employees at one time, and DFMS, who is a tribally owned entity, who does hire tribal members, tribal preference, they take care of the benefits and the workers' comp and vacation, and all of that is managed by that business now. And so it took that expense out of housing. For example, housing budget alone for maintenance one year was $400,000 for the maintenance employees, just their salary and benefit. And then on top of that, they paid out to subcontractors and contractors to take care of things that was beyond the scope of the general maintenance. So they had a bill that was quite substantial by the end of the year. Well, DFMS has been able to come in, take over the management of a lot of those functions, and not have the overhead expenses that the tribe used to incur. Basically, what 6 people used to do, at one time they had 2 people doing it. The work orders are completed on time. There are a lot less complaints. If there is a complaint, it doesn't go to the housing director who needs to be dealing with housing. It goes to DFMS, essentially. And
How long have we had them?
they were born, I guess, in July of 2012. But like I said, the DEA had some staff members that were running it. they hired the CEO in November, but the DEA staff is still taking a lot of the bottom line. The bottom line was going to the DEA staff. We were able to streamline in February of 13 and remove those employees that were getting paid a lot to do not a lot. And since then, they've been able to make decisions that were pertinent to the business.
Paula, can I address my issues now, or are y'all going to vote and then I can?
We've got
I thought you voted, I'm sorry.
we've got to vote on this issue and
Well,
one
that's what
more
I said.
resolution.
Okay.
And then
All right.
we can discuss.
But we kind of got off onto some of the things I had
Okay.
remarks about.
But if you guys are interested, we could have
Yes,
the
we
Med
did
come
vote,
and do
I'm
a
sorry.
presentation.
We've got one more.
Sometime with it
Okay.
at lunch.
one more.
If you're interested in learning more about it.
We heard at the council a year ago, or,
In November.
yeah, we heard Lisa Steele give a glowing report, and I thought it was a really good deal. And then, but I don't think it is right now.
Well, probably just the opposite. It wasn't a very
It
good
doesn't
deal
sound
then,
good.
but
And how many employees? I meant that.
I think they have between 12 and 15, and they're almost all Native American or
Are they
Delaware.
busy?
They're busy.
Let's go ahead and handle the last resolution if we may. I move to approve Resolution 241409. It's a resolution of the Delaware Tribal Council of the Delaware Tribe of the Indians to approve the relocation, travel, and substance abuse prevention policies of the tribal housing program.
Second.
And this is what Curtis was telling us about,
Right.
to be taken care of. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Passed. There's one more. That was it. That was all I had.
Yeah, if you want to open the floor for
Oh,
more
okay.
questions.
A certain person put a lot of, or put several, are we done? Did we finish that? A certain person put some slanderous things about DFMS on Facebook the other day that weren't true. And I'd just like to remind everyone that this is a tribally owned business. The reason why we have this business is because when we sat down to see what it was that the tribe could do, one of the a lady that used to be with the Department of Commerce of the United States said, look at what your tribe's already doing. So you're paying other people to perform these functions for the tribe. Why don't you guys take the employees that you have, take them and separate them from being just tribal employees, move them into their own unit, and then have that unit perform those functions for the tribe and for other people. And so instead of paying this money out to someone else, you can pay it out to the tribal business. And a lot of the people and then we could take that business also and apply for a special government status through the
Yeah,
Small
that's what
Business
Lisa-
Association.
What Lisa talked about.
Called the
At
8A
the council
program.
meeting.
So
But
we're still been
why
working on that.
can't you just hire, do away with that company that's costing so, there's a lot of money there, and hire Delawares that need jobs.
Well,
The employees of that company are mostly Delaware.
right. And like I said, Mary, that for that one job, the bids were over 30,000, two bids for over $30,000, and DFMS did it for $9,000. So that saved the tribe about $21,000 by having that company. And the money went back into tribal members and families.
But Paula, may I ask you a question?
Sure.
On that, DFMS, I understand, leases their own vehicles. But why then do they charge the gasoline back to housing and the tribe?
Because they're doing work for them.
But if you're quoting a bid, it includes your gasoline.
Well, and that's
I mean,
where-
if you're a company and...
That's not the situation that we had them set up under. We've proposed that to be the situation now, to have them bid just like everyone else, but instead, before, it was cost plus 25%. So they had to itemize out every mile of gas used.
Okay, then there are some rumors going around that the head of DFMS and one of the workers, I believe his name's Travis, I'm not sure, used DFMS vehicles for their personal use, driving at home and back to work. If that's true, the IRS include,
They have to-
that is income.
Yes, I agree. 'Cause
Well, it is, it's a
we had
law.
that happen in
That it
housing.
has to be,
Yes.
and that they're also using tribal gasoline in these vehicles for their personal use.
I don't think they're doing that, but I don't know for positive.
Well, if they are, they need discipline.
I agree. They're not supposed to be doing that.
I know, and we've got
But
one,
that's not my business. I'm trying to let them run their business, but he needs to be.
but if
they
they're a
are
wholly
doing
owned
it-
business of our tribe,
I
then
know,
we need
yes.
to know.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, somebody's got to be over them, they're not, or let them be completely on their own. I mean, if we're going to bid against them, then, like, we need something fixed. And we get a quote from them,
Right.
and we get a quote from,
2 others.
they're not going to charge us gasoline.
I know, and when we go to the quote system, they're not going to either.
Okay.
That just got okayed like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, then I know that one of the employees went to training that was paid for by DFMS to get certified to take care of all like the bug spraying.
Uh-huh.
He didn't pass the test.
I thought he did.
We're still paying about over $2,300 to get the bug spray, but then we pay DFMS another 25% of that. I don't.
And before, we were paying a lot more.
Why? All you have to do is set up a schedule with the bug people.
Right, but you can see, you can look at the 2012
And then
housing prior to, look at the books of housing prior to 2012 when DFMS took over
Okay,
the
but
general
maybe we need
contracting.
somebody.
And you can see that the housing paid a lot more, and the tribe paid a lot more for bug spraying than they do under DFMS. DFMS goes out and they negotiate and find the best price.
Okay, and then I understand one employee has been making earrings on DFMS time, instructed by one member of our elected officials.
I don't believe that.
Sitting in one of the apartments empty apartments at the lodges.
Well, I'll just go slap their hands.
Well, I just think these are things that are
Well,
going around, and you as
if it
a
was my
council
business, yes,
Sure,
I
and that's something that
needs to look into these.
we are able to address with the boss of DFMS and tell him that he needs to take care of that within his employees, and that's
Right.
not something the council has to deal with, but he can't deal with it if he doesn't know, and we can't let him know if we don't know. So thank you.
Right, yeah, I agree.
Okay, and then I have one more question. This is election year, and so I know there's 3 council posts up and the chief post, and I'm not sure if there's some judges posts up or not.
That I don't know.
I don't know. But I know I've gone back in the minutes and found what council is compensated, what all council members are compensated, but I cannot find the chief's compensation. I did find that originally it was set at $36,000, and so I think for people to apply to run, I mean, I can go find the President of the United States, what he's paid, the Governor of Oklahoma, the Mayor of Tulsa,
And I'm
the Chief of the Cherokees, the Chief of Osage Nation. And so I would just like to know what our chief makes that will be elected in November.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm making.
Okay,
I make $50,000 a year
okay.
from the $36,000 that was on there. After I got elected, the council decided to raise that. So they did, and that's me, though.
Huh?
That is me. That's not every chief.
We didn't,
Right, I know that. I mean, that's what I said, I went
I don't
online
know
and
what
found out what the,
different chief.
right, I know the Osage Nation chiefs makes 95,000.
let's run over there.
Well, let's go.
And our chief doesn't get benefits. She doesn't get an employee benefit. So you might note that for people that want to run, it's not a position that pays benefits, or there's no retirement.
Right.
So no insurance, no health benefits, no retirement.
Right, they're not employees.
Council's that way too.
And regarding the accusation of conflict of interest earlier with my being compensated for having written a successful grant, the code of conduct requires disclosure to the tribal council if there was a conflict of interest. I don't see that by definition of the code of conduct that there was a conflict of interest, but it was disclosed to the tribal council when I made the proposal to them. And in addition, I didn't vote on anything to do with the whether we were going to apply for that grant or not. So
Okay.
I followed the code of conduct.
When
and
was that?
expressed the
Do you know
conflict of interest.
what month that was voted on?
I don't.
Okay. I've got them all printed off, I'll go back and look. But I still have a concern about DFMS, and I would like you all to look at this. There is an invoice from DFMS that has a $53.36 part for a dripping outside faucet at the lodges.
Okay.
The employee cost is $2,621.38. And the admin cost is $668.69.
There are 9 people that go through each one of those invoices. Housing, two employees in housing, Curtis, Bruce, Jean, John Moore. I'm not sure who the other 2 are. I don't go through those, and I don't think any of the tribal council goes through those. But Curtis would be familiar with that particular invoice and be able to talk to you about it, or accounting, or housing, or
You're
DFMS.
saying that they paid $50 for the part and it cost $2,000 something to put it in? Is that what you're saying?
Susan?
Yeah.
You have a question, Bob?
Yes, I had a question on the structure of the DEA and DFMS. The organizational structure. Who has the oversight on DEA and DFMS? What is the who and what is the structure?
I guess I don't understand your question.
Okay, you know an organizational chart?
Yes, there's an organizational chart.
There is no organizational chart?
There is an organizational chart.
Okay, who is in charge of it?
The tribal council,
The DEA board.
How many people's on the DEA board?
there are 3 open positions, there's 7 positions on the board.
Which we've been advertising for people that on that board.
Right. We have, there are, it's on the web, and I don't remember where else, but requests for people that are interested in serving on the DEA board to put in their request and resume to be considered for the board.
And there are 3 people that submitted their interest, and Sandy's setting up telephone interviews with them for this
Who is
next
currently
week.
the chairman or the CEO of the DEA?
I am the acting one.
You are
Because
acting,
our
who's,
person.
so you don't have a elected or a,
You don't elect those.
Hired. Who's hired?
Are they appointed?
Or who's appointed then?
The chief and council
Chief is-
appoint
is
the
the-
board.
The chief is on the organizational chart.
Who is Jim Creed? What is his job?
He's
He's DFMS.
He's the DFMS
Person?
He's the one runs the DFMS.
He runs it. This says he's a salesperson.
Well, that's part of their job.
The sales, trying to go out and sell the company services to other people is part of his job.
Does he set the compensation for the workers? I mean, is that done internally in DFMS, or DEA has control, or does the tribal council do that? I just know they have one employee who is doing some maintenance, janitorial work and shredding that's making over $17 an hour.
Well, I don't know where you heard that, but I've seen we do sign paychecks, and that's not a fact.
Well, though his take-home wouldn't be
I
that.
don't do DFMS paychecks. Do I?
Oh, maybe you don't.
No, I don't.
I do.
Did you? Okay. Did I give you this page? You had that on there?
Right now, the people on the board are Chief Pachonik, Nathan, Jennifer, and Ken Adams.
Yeah, Ken.
And of course, we've been trying for months to get people interested in serving on that board so that it can get stronger and up and running and help develop more economic development and businesses for the tribe.
Did we take care of everything on the agenda? Maybe we could adjourn the meeting and have, we could have question and answers afterwards, or maybe Monday at lunch.
Okay.
I'm ready to go home.
I make that motion that we adjourn.
Go to executive session.
Oh, we're going to executive
That's
session,
what it
I'm
says.
sorry. Okay, never mind. We need
Um,
executive.
Jennifer has suggested that we set a time, maybe after lunch one day, for any questions and answers, to get those answered. And if we're at the office, it's easier to get the answers for you.
Well, during
Will those
open
questions
hours.
and answers be recorded and made public?
They can be,
Well,
yes.
I must say that DFMS employees, what they get paid isn't really public.
Oh, I know, that's covered by HIPAA, but I just know that for a fact.
Well, it isn't
Well,
a
I
fact,
don't
though,
know how you
ma'am.
make-
Excuse me, but that is not a fact.
She was saying she knows that it's confidential for a fact, not that someone gets paid $17 an hour.
James, did you move to go to executive
Yes,
session?
ma'am, I did.
Second.
Second. Curtis, how long do you think the executive session's going to last?
I can present my issues in 5 or 6 minutes.
So maybe 10.
Sure, Stan, I didn't know. My camera just completely died. The batteries just.
Have they adjourned?
Need to get that.
Have you adjourned?
We're not
No, we're in
adjourning.
executive
going to executive.
Well, I mean, for the executive, I was going to turn this off.
Really? Well, that's all right.
I move to return to general session.
Second. Okay, we're adjourning our session. There we go.
We lost you.
So we didn't find anything to vote on. Yeah, we did a workshop.
Who seconded? You did.
Jan did.
I gave everybody a copy of this. This is a Oklahoma Healthcare Authority is holding their 7th annual or tribal consultation meeting. It'll be held on February 26th
And it's
in Tulsa.
Okay.
And it's what it is comparing how and working out how patients get taken care of between IHS and the Sooner Care Oklahoma Insurance, Medicare, Medicaid probably would be a very good idea that we have one or two people there so we know what's going on and how we might be able to give information to our tribal members on how to do this.
So, should it be a council member, or does it need to be an employee?
Whoever can go and get the best information.
Is that something you're interested in? What? No?
Yes and no, but I would like someone else to go.
In your place or
yeah,
with you?
I've got a lot of things that I have responsibility for right now.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to see.
Yeah, get with Curtis. You guys decide, but this was in the mail today, or you'd had it before. But just looking it over and reading it, I think it's important that we know what's going on.
Okay.
And Curtis may know better who to assign to go to this. Did you get a copy of it, Curtis?
This is the state healthcare.
Yeah.
What do I do with mine? I know I
It's how the IHS and the state work together on healthcare. They had a consultation in October. This is a follow-up to go on with it. Anyway, that's all I had to say. Do we need to officially set a workshop for next Thursday? Or for Thursday?
Okay, Thursday at 11 in the morning.
Right.
Break for lunch and then come back.
Okay.
So
we're officially deciding and announcing that we're going to do that.
Are we doing it at the service building or in Chief's office?
Chief?
Well, I'm thinking it's going to be awfully cold. I'd like to have it in my office.
I'm going to have to walk. That's true. That's the coldest day of the year.
Blame you.
I have to walk up to you.
Yeah.
I may drive. But we'll
Yeah.
see.
Okay.
It is this Thursday.
Yes, on the 6th. In the
3
chief's
days.
office.
At 11.
At 11.
All right.
Don't make me come wake you up now. No, I'm kidding. When have I ever done that? Never.
That's actually, I think, all I have. I thought that was something important enough that we needed to bring it up.
Well, I think I gave all the copies away. I don't seem to have them. Paula has one though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one. I gave them all away.
Well, yeah, here.
I just was thinking I could give one to Judy or something.
Who do you think would be good? Would that be something Alan could go
You
to?
don't need it?
Well, they want tribal leaders there. They want tribal leaders.
I'll volunteer.
Oh,
As they
here.
make
Here's somebody.
decisions
Yeah.
about, and this is
Okay,
decisions
well, then you
on
need to
policy
keep this.
and on people who are enrolled in the Sooner Care program. And Sooner Care are your low-income families and children who are getting health insurance.
Right.
Indian Healthcare Resource Center taps into this money to help compensate for taking care of tons of Indian kids, a lot of them who are Delaware. I know because my daughter and my grandchildren go to this place. So they want to hear from tribal leaders and to get support during their consultation session because they need to go out and continue to be able to maximize the amount of money they get out of the Sooner Care program, which is funded by the Oklahoma Healthcare Authority. So that's what this is about.
Chet's volunteered.
I'll go with you, Chet, if you...
And we'll set you up with a van and go on down there. But yeah, I think it'd be good because I know for a fact that we do have our tribal kids that are in the Tulsa area that go to Indian Healthcare for their services.
Between now and even maybe at our workshop Thursday, we might. Chet and I need to be brought up to date on some of the information regarding our tribe, so we know what kind of information to relate from us to these people.
Yeah,
So be thinking about it.
At best, the kind of information we could give them would be how many tribal members that live inside their service area. But I think what we can be doing is contacting this Kathleen Carbon and get a little more guidance on what it is we can be bringing to the table.
Okay.
But they're going back to the Oklahoma Healthcare Authority and they're telling them, look, We need more money, we need more support. We're dealing with a lot of Indians around here, and if you don't believe me, look at the tribal leaders of the tribes that are in our service area. They have equal concerns. We're standing here together, asking you, State of Oklahoma, to make sure that Indian health care gets their share of the senior care program, which serves Indians and non-Indians alike. Every town, every city, they're all fighting for their share of this money that comes in through senior care. And, a lot of times they'll say, well, you're Indians. You get free health out of Indian health. Well, no, that's not exactly true. And that's why this clinic exists, because
Well,
Claremore...
I can remember being over to the Osage Clinic. I don't remember seeing that, because I don't go very often, I guess, the clinic downtown, that they were encouraging the Indian people to go get center care, and it was their right to have it. And I think that it benefits the clinic, too.
Well, just one less person they have to spend money on.
And-
Help
and
everybody.
I'm sure they can always give a few tips on what's going on with the Affordable Care Act, too.
Right. I know, when I had the first, the diagnosis and the treatment for the breast cancer, I had to fill out papers for senior care.
There you go.
It was an automatic because it was the breast cancer. All right, I had to reapply in a year. Nothing changed in that year except that I'm on medication for 2 or 3 years. But I didn't qualify anymore. I was over income.
Oh, no. Well,
Well,
that's the way it goes.
yeah, but it just, they demanded and forced me to take it.
The first time. and
The
then
first
they go,
time, and then,
Sorry,
you make too much money now. Okay, that's fine. But it's ironic how,
Your pittance from the tribe kept you over.
huh?
You got baby feed and water to drink, you're out of luck. No, we
Yeah.
can't help.
$1,200 a month.